going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Ball to Board series. As y'all know by now, Ball to Board is an opportunity for come home to sit down with real men and have real talk about the ups and downs of the hair loss journey as well as manhood. Today, I got a very special guest, one of my dogs from way back in the day, Daniel Gluckin, formerly known as DJ Bobby Drake, man. Me and Daniel go way back.
Way back.
To the party scene back in college, from NC State to UNC to just homecomings across the state, etc., man. So it's a pleasure to have him join me today on this episode. What's up, family?
Pleasure to be here, man. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Talk to the people, man. Give them an intro.
So yeah, I'm Daniel Gluckin, formerly known as DJ Bobby Drake. I was a DJ for 10 years.
The DJ for 10 years. Let's not understate it.
Say it. I was the DJ for 10 years, and then I officially retired almost 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And I've been doing real estate full time ever since.
Yeah.
So, it's been it was a way different transition, but it's been a good one. So I'm glad I made the move for sure. Definitely
No doubt. And also, man, many people will say the real estate agent too, man. Like, really kills it on in that standpoint, in that area as well. So a very seamless transition, many will say, but you gotta with deeper story to tell.
It always looks good on the outside looking in, but
Yes,
it takes a lot of hard work. Both, industries took a lot of hard work. So, but I'm fortunate enough to be able to put in the hard work,
No doubt. Bobby. So I'm going to call him, his name is Daniel, but, like I said,
there's a few people who can call me Bobby, and I won't even think about it, and he's one of them. So,
for sure, man. So, dog, one thing we like to always start the episodes with is talking about the idea and concept of home. What does home mean to different people? Because many people can relate to the term. So when you hear the word home, bro, what memories does that bring up? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it goes both ways. You said memories. So memories makes me think back, right? I remember my home growing up, my family. My sister's older, so it was me and my brother. My sister was she was in college by the time I remember much. But me and my brother, my parents, I remember our old house. We had a basketball court that we were in upstate New York.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of snow, and we would shovel 2 feet of snow just to play basketball in 20-degree weather. So I got memories from home, and then future. And honestly, one of the reasons why I like real estate so much, I went years of my life taking walks or riding my bike or anything like that, and I would go through neighborhoods with big houses.
Yeah.
And all I would do is think yo, I just want to knock on that door and be like, hey, what do you do for a living? Or how did you get this? Right? It was my biggest goal for years of my life. So that's kind of, and I'm currently in the middle of buying that house.
Yeah.
It's going to be built, be done by the end of the year.
Where at?
It's in Apex.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So, but that was always just this ultimate goal, is just to have the home that my kids can come to, that all their friends can come. Cause we all had the friend, right, who had the dope house, and you always want to go to that. They had the good snacks, all that stuff. So that's my goal for, that next stage in life, is to have the home that, people want to be at, and we can all share together. Yeah,
and that's also dope because again, you make that transition to real estate. Now you're helping other people realize that dream, right?
Yeah.
So
it was a seamless transition too. I mean, we're similar ages, and we went to school together. And when all of our people were going to parties, right, I was there for the parties.
Yeah.
And now everybody's a little older, right? We're not going to parties every week. I hope not. And now instead of parties, it's building a family, looking to buy a home. So I was able to, I know people who met at my parties. Maybe I even DJ'd their wedding, and now I'm helping them buy a house.
Look at that.
So it's super cool to be able to transition, but still stay with all the people I've been with since, I was 20 years old. So it's pretty cool.
The power of relationships, man.
Yep. The
power of relationships, you know what I'm saying? That's super dope, bro. Question, though, because I actually didn't know, bro, that you grew up in upstate New York or were born in upstate New York.
I was born in Ohio.
Oh, come on, man. You're leaving out too much.
Yeah, I was born in Ohio. Nobody knows this. I lived there for 3 or 4 years. I don't really remember it. I just know we had a lot of cats.
Yeah.
And there's a barn with just mad cats. And then we moved to New York. I lived in upstate New York until high school.
Okay.
So I came down here in 9th grade. I went to high school in Greensboro.
No doubt.
Northwest Guilford, which is a very different experience. My school in New York was very diverse, right? And I came here, and it was not that.
Yeah.
So it was very different for me, because I think there were maybe, as far as minorities go, maybe 14, 15 people in a 2,000 people school.
Wow.
There's a lot of white people in that school.
Yeah.
And So it was a little difficult for me because, I'm from New York. I would say more like style than the average. I didn't wear Abercrombie and Fitch. I wore my Jordans and stuff because that's what I was used to.
Jabos,
so
Fat Farm.
No, none of that. No.
Averex.
No. I just have my J's. I have my Nike. I have my athletic gear. But I didn't really get along with all the, the normal North Carolina Birkenstock wearing, kids. So I hung out with, the people I had the most in common with. But so it was a very different experience. But I'm still glad I made the move because I don't know where I'd be if I was still up there. So,
no doubt.
I don't regret it. And I don't want to go back. So I guess that's a good thing. I like it down here.
So you've been here quite some time. So at this point, when you think of home, is it like New York a bit?
No. So I'm not one of those New Yorkers who lived there 20 years ago and still claim it. I'm from here now, right? I'm from North Carolina. I've been here since 2000. That's a long time, right? So I think the majority of my life I've been in North Carolina. So I'm from here now.
No doubt.
And there's so many people from here or that live here that are from all these other places.
Yeah.
So, me saying I'm from North Carolina doesn't, like, people think I'm living in the country, cornfields or something. I don't think that's a thing anymore.
And also, the cool thing about North Carolina is you don't find people in North Carolina. Like, so say you telling me, I'm born and raised here. You telling me from North Carolina. North Carolina's not like New York. You're going to be like, yo, son, you're not from here. They're not going to press you like that. It's like, oh, you from Carolina? All right, for sure. It's love, man. All right, we got to talk about one more thing before we get into your hair loss journey, bro. Being a Carolina guy, Carolina sports is everything. This year we saw the ultimate college basketball matchup that the world has been waiting on, and finally we get it in the Final Four, Duke versus Carolina. You went to state, but I want to hear...
I'll talk about it.
I want to hear your take on just that rivalry in general, but also how the game played out. Coach K's last year, Hubert Davis's first year, etc.
Yeah, so I was a Duke fan while I was a New York kid. I was a little kid. I had a Duke jacket. I don't know if it stemmed from, simple stuff like the color was my favorite color. Like stuff like that is what you know when you're a little kid. But I was always a Duke fan. I went to state. I got into Duke, but I didn't want to pay for it. I went to state, way cheaper. And I wanted to be an NC State fan. I did, right? I went to the school, I thought it was right. And I started going to games and watching games and football and basketball and stuff. And they always lost in the fourth quarter. It didn't matter what sport, how much they were up, they always lost in the fourth.
Bobby, were you there with Sidney Loair, or is that before or after you?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Julius Hodge was
there, yeah.
Hodge was there. T.A. McClendon was there during football. But it was just, it didn't matter who they were playing. Always lost in the fourth. And I'm not like that. I can't. If I'm up, I'm going to finish the game. So I just couldn't get with it. So I've never really made it there to be a state fan. Yeah. And then, I went to state, but I liked Duke. But I wasn't, like, unless you're from here, you're not gung-ho about it, right? If you tell me you're a Carolina fan, I don't care, right? Like, love your team, right? I'm not going to yell at you. So, but if it's the two of them playing, I'm going to root for Duke. But honestly, I know guys from both teams. And, in the industry I was in, I got to meet some. And I probably know more Carolina people, and they're probably a little cooler.
There you go.
At least the athletes go.
Yeah.
So I got nothing against either one, but I normally root for Duke. But I also like Coach K. He ain't there no more. So who knows? Who knows?
Hey, man, I don't want to get too deep into it, but tough year for y'all boys, man.
Tough year.
It was. Y'all boys, man.
Yeah. It was rough.
I don't want to dive too, because I'll go all day on this.
Right.
But that's what's up. Good to hear that take, man. Good to hear that take, bro.
Yeah.
But all right, let's get into why the people are here, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at you today, and you killing the ball. So the funny story about this people, again, I've known my dog for a minute now, and I actually tried to hit him up to get him on Ball to Bold. I think, I don't know, say 10 months ago. It wasn't incredibly long ago, but I hit him up like, yo, Bobby, I need to get you on Ball to Bold. He responded like, bro, I'm not even bald. And to me, it was nuts because I'm looking at his Instagram. I'm like, yo, my man's is bald. But you know what I'm saying? You can't tell if they not home, they not home. So I didn't. I let it ride. And so we circled back a couple of months later, and here we are. I got him here. He's accepted his fate. So you know what I'm saying, bro? Talk to us, man. I want to hear the story about how you actually got here. Take us back a little bit, whether it's middle school, high school, when you can remember talking about the kind of hair you had. Walk us through that journey.
So I had the same haircut since I was a little kid. You call it the bowl cut.
Yeah.
I had that. My mom used to cut my hair.
Okay.
Right. And, You ain't gonna get that complicated.
Let me stop there. So, funny story. Growing up, my dad used to cut my hair, right? And, you know, my dad's not a barber by trade, but he could do a decent haircut.
Yeah.
But I remember actually in middle school sometimes getting picked on, like, yo, who cut your hair? But the funniest story, dog, my pops was out of town when I don't know what it was. My pops was out of town and I needed a haircut. My mom was like, okay, I'll cut it. I was definitely afraid of having my mom cut my hair. Did not want it to happen. Right. But Nigerian parents, you can't tell them nothing. My mom was going to cut my hair. So, dog, when I say she cut my hair.
She got you right.
Bobby. She got me wrong. Bro. I mean, you can see the direction, the lines. It was so bad, bro. I literally tried to wear a hat every single day that week. The first day I got to school, I tried to wear a hat all through it. Somebody grabbed it off, and it was middle school, man, and it was tough. So, your mom was cutting your hair.
My mom was cutting my hair.
She was decent.
I mean, I had a basic haircut, right? So she would cut my hair, and then I started going. I went to Great Clips. Like, I was going to. I didn't know no better.
Everybody knows Great Sports Clips. You see it.
Yeah, I went to Great Clips.
You know it's a no-no.
You know what I'm saying? I went there, and then I had a roommate of mine who cut hair, and I used to just go to her spot. Okay. And then she would always cut my hair for free, right? She's my roommate. Yeah. And then one day, the owners of the establishment was like, "You need to charge him," and I was like, "What? Like you?" I'm your roommate. What you talking about? So once I started having to pay for it, I started taking more seriously. And then I had like I guess you call them bangs. Okay. You remember my hair? Like I eventually when I started DJing, I had a mohawk in the back but I always had hair in my front. Okay. Since I was a little kid, I always had hair going in the front. And then like I think when I first realized it, you know, this part was like the part to go. I still got it in the back. All right.
But what age, around what year was this was this during the DJ era?
Yeah. This was the last 10 years probably. Word. Where it was just like, you know, there was like thinning on this side and maybe not as much on this side. And then eventually, and I think the biggest thing for me was I was always like insecure about it.
Yeah, dog, let's talk about it.
Because it was always like, if somebody said what's up and touched it or something, I'd be like, oh, you know, I have to run into the bathroom, make sure I was straight. Because, you know, my hairline was, you know, saluting from back there. So, but I just never liked it, right? I never really liked my hair. It was a thing, if I was getting ready to go, that was a thing that was why I was late, you know, because I had to figure that part out. And then I had to start paying for it, and I was just like, yo, let me just try and see what happens. Let me just cut it all off one day. So the same girl, she cut it all off, and I remember I drove home, and I rolled my windows down. And I was like this out the car. And it was the first time in my life I was ever able to do that. Because, like, yo, if I was in the car with you and you rolled the windows down, I'd be like, oh, man, like, let me not let it mess me up. Rolled the windows down, I just felt free. Wow. I was just like, I liked it. It was perfect. And ever since then, I was like, I'm never going to have to think about my hair again. Yeah. I never want to have to be insecure about it, or if somebody touches it, what does it look like? Yeah. So once I got to this, and it took me a while to shave it. Like I was buzzing it real low, but it still looked stupid. So once I started shaving it, I got comfortable. And whether I could grow it back or not, I don't want to. Yeah. I just like it. Like I feel free. I don't have to think about it. It's just like, I don't know. It's one of the best feelings to not have to think about what's on your head.
I love it, man. Yeah. I love it, bro. Because obviously we knew each other when I was losing my hair. You know what I'm saying? But I did a great deal to try to hide it. You know. Yeah, I was thinning here. It was pretty bad, and you know, like being Nigerian, being from Raleigh, like I was a very confident person. But when I started losing the hair, that confidence definitely took a hit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And for a while, all the homies were on my neck. It's like, yo, you got to come home, giving me jokes 24.
So they were saying that before you had the
phrase? And many of them laugh now. It's like, yo, it's crazy how we played a part in it, right? And that's why I love it so much. It's because like. A lot of the homies will see it. They be like, yo, like, that's authentic as it comes. Like, we know this story, like, through and through.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know what I'm saying? And, but, like, I talk to so many guys who deal with that, bro. And, like, hair loss, you know, because it's funny because a lot of women, especially guys that have, like, regular haircuts, they don't look at us like, oh, you got a lot of hair anyway. But to us, sometimes it's a major part of us. You know what I'm saying? So there is these insecurities and this confidence issue that you have to deal with when you're ready to shave your head. Yeah. So I want to take it back a little bit, bro. When you were going through it, obviously you were battling with that inside of you. Did other people notice? Was anybody saying it, or was it good enough that nobody was peeping?
Yeah, I don't think many people peeped. I mean, the people maybe closest to me, like my man Sean, Sean Henney, we would go everywhere together, right? So he probably, and he need to come home. Oh no, he did come home, right? He
Stop
came
playing,
home, right?
Stop playing. Yeah, I gotta get Henny up here too.
He need to get up on the show. But that's really it. Because I still had enough, right, to hold it down. But like, it was all me, I guess, manufacturing it, right? So like making sure the hair was there, making sure it looked straight. So, and I don't know if they did or not, but I did, I guess, and that's all that mattered.
Yeah,
but it was main thing was just the comfortability of like the wind blowing or getting ready for the day, and that takes 15 minutes. Like I just didn't like any of that stuff anymore. So this is it's the freest I've felt. I just doing what I got to do.
Welcome home, my boy.
Yeah, it's
Welcome
clean.
home.
I like it.
So you shaved it. You kind of in the window. You doing your thing. But the first time you shaved it, because first you said you were kind of doing like the buzz cut, right?
Yeah, I didn't know what to do. I was just getting it as low as I can. I was looking for like trimmers or whatever that would just get it as low as possible. Because I honestly didn't know people used a razor to their head. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I can't remember the last. I have a DJ friend, Duran Juan. He's been home for a minute, but he had this like electronic little thing, and he put me onto that, and I was using that, and I don't know. I guess just one day I just shaved it, and I just liked it that way the best. It was just smooth to the touch, and I got to shave it often, like at least every other day.
Talk about that, right?
It's a process, but it's worth it to me.
Yeah.
If it starts growing back, I'm like, let me get back. Let me get right. So, you go through the razors, but it's worth it, in my opinion.
First time you shaved it and looked in the mirror, did you know off gate, like, this is me? Like, I rock with the look, or did it take a little while to get used to it?
I think it probably took a little while. I know I liked it better than if I was buzzing it, because there was always something still there.
Okay.
So, I mean, I know now. I look at it now and I'm good.
Yeah.
I look at old pictures and like I remember that, but I like it how it is now. So I'm glad I did it.
We love that, man. We love that. Also, something you brought up, bro, is that like when you were making that transition, you didn't know what to use, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And the interesting part about that is, a part of this too is when I finally came home, I remember leaving the barbershop that day and I was like, oh, this is my last time I'm gonna see the barber, because I'm not finna pay him to just
do that.
Yeah, like he used to do some real work. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm leaving the barbershop. What's my new maintenance strategy? How do I do this going forward? And I had never seen any ads, nothing talking about like, you losing your hair, come home, we got you. It was all like, you losing your hair, take this pill, do this to
make
grow
it
it
not
back.
happen. Right.
So I didn't know what to use. I remember calling some of my ball homies like, yo, what are you using?
Yeah.
Sometimes they would send me products, specifically for scalp care. It'd be products for women, products for men, nothing that was specifically for bald men. I'm like, yo, that's nuts, because there's a lot of bald men out here. How is there no specific brand? And that was kind of the early idea of like, yo, we need to create something specifically for this, because personally, I knew I needed it.
Right, and you couldn't find it.
Could not find it, bro. So it's crazy that you also had to reach out to your homies like, yo, somebody put me on game. And it's weird because I think there's this stigma around hair loss. I think maybe it's getting broken down now, but historically, beauty was attached to hair. And you didn't want to talk about it, right? It was two of those things, you know what I'm saying? But now I think there's a little bit more, people are more accepting of having those conversations about, again, some of these insecurities we're dealing with that in the past you couldn't talk about.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure. Yep. And the more of us that look like this, the easier it is to talk about it. So,
exactly.
but I see it, man, like and I don't know, it's always in my mind. I never say it, but I see people that would look so much better if they just cut it all off. It's just like they're holding on to this something, and it's like, yo, you would look clean. Like it would just look so much better if you just cut it all off. And sometimes you can see them, just walk around the grocery store, and you just want to walk up to, hey man, look, come do what I did.
So Bobby, you're a marketing guy, so I got this idea I want to throw at you with that in mind. So I'm thinking of launching this joint called the Come Home Hotline.
Okay.
It's right. And so like, say somebody, it's somebody you know or something, you're like, man, I can't quite tell them. You got to call the hotline. Like, yo, this is the Come Home Hotline. I know this person. You give us their email, their social media, whatever.
You reach out to them?
So we can reach out, right? Because we're pros at this now, right?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we're thinking about coming out with something like that to allow you to do right by some of these people in your life who like can really use our help, but they
I like it.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we're gonna do something like that very soon, bro. Very soon.
Yeah, I think that there's much, and you said it. There's a lot more products on how to keep it. and way less on just how to let it go. But to me, this is a acceptable look, right? Like, you know, I got, you know, somebody in particular who likes touching my hair when it's freshly shaved, right? So, you know, it's not a bad thing. There's iconic people in the world with, you know, bald heads, and it's just another way to style yourself. So, and it doesn't have to be a bad thing.
And you about to get me in my bag a little bit here, bro. But I always tell people now, and I was like, yo, when it comes to bald man versus guys with hair, we up now right now. We up like light-skinned guys in the 90s. Like, they not messing with us. It's our time right now.
Yeah, yeah.
It's funny. I used to talk to Santo about this, and he mentioned that his wife actually loves to rub his hair. I said, oh, that's a love language low-key for us these days, right?
Sure, yeah.
Talk that talk. Because it's a lot of people who do love bald men. So a lot of people are running from it because they think I'm gonna look ugly. People are not gonna accept me. Well, two of us is gonna tell you right now. I mean, you're gonna get accepted. You know what I'm saying? You'll be all right.
Yeah, just have a beard or something. You gotta have a little something. No, just kidding. You do whatever you need to do, but this is acceptable. You know, and honestly, it looks worse if you're trying to hold on. Most of the time, they can tell, and it's gonna feel free. It's freeing, and other people will appreciate it. Like, yeah, you needed to do that. It's just a matter of time. So nothing wrong with it though. I don't feel embarrassed at all. I was more embarrassed before. You know what I'm saying? Like now, this is me, and I ain't got nothing to think about when it comes to the top of my head.
There's actually data that says bald men are actually perceived to be more powerful, more intelligent, more successful. So there's actually like a perception of the look.
Sure.
Right? So guys who are fighting it are like, hey, like people are going to think people are going to look at me this way with a bald head. No, but people are going to think you're a boss with a bald. The data says that actually. So
I can see that.
You know, again, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to preach to y'all today, but you know what it is. Bobby, so man, today, obviously, we had talked about the hair loss piece, but there's so much more that, man, you can dive into. I want to get into that now. Come home obviously means like a man or as a man in French, and we get to talk about the development of like boy to man, right? So we've known each other again since we were just in the parties, dancing, you DJing, we got flowers, throwing homecoming parties, all that.
Yep.
But that has changed quite a bit, right? You know what I'm saying? So I want to talk to you, bro, about that growth and that development from you going from DJ to real estate agent, but also from, you know, a young college kid to being a father
DJ.
now.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so there's change in both of those, right?
Sure.
So let's talk about that development, how that all kind of happened for you, bro.
Well, I mean, I guess I'll start with when I became a DJ, because that's a good story. I always loved music. It didn't matter what I was doing. If there was music playing, I could do that thing, right? If I was cleaning my room, raking leaves, if there was music, I was good.
For sure.
So I used to record music videos. I used to make mixtapes just like off the radio. Like when a song comes on, you hit record real quick. I used to have VHS tapes of just nothing but banger music videos that I would just sit there and record. So I always had the touch and the ear. And I remember I was in school to be I was a psychology major at State. And I had a friend of mine, his name is Pablo. He lived in Atlanta. He was my best friend growing up in New York. He moved to Atlanta, I moved to North Carolina. And he was a DJ. And I visited him for one weekend. And he kind of showed me what it was like, right? I saw the life. We went out, saw a couple of his friends, went to some parties. And I touched his turntables and stuff. And I drove home. And in my mind, I was like, yo, I don't want to be 40 years old saying, I wish I would have done that.
Yes, sir.
So literally that night, I drove home from Atlanta. That night, I maxed out my credit card and bought everything I needed to become a DJ. I trapped myself in my apartment for probably about 2 weeks. And then I had another, it's like a DJ crew who were getting gigs. And I was like, hey, I want to work too.
Yeah.
And so I got my first gig at a spot. It's called Proof now. It's way up Glenwood. It's right next to the movie theater. It's 5 Points or something.
Okay, yeah.
I forgot what it was called then, but I got a gig. I think it was a Friday night, and I was like, and remember, I got paid $50 for that.
You came a long way from that.
Long way. But I remember I was like, yo, if I'm going to play music for people, I want it to be people I know. So I know what they want to hear. Right? Last thing I want, my first gig, a bunch of strangers.
Yeah.
So I promoted that party, and I had everybody I knew in that little ass spot.
Yeah. And
I packed it out. So imagine you're the owner, and you book this brand new kid for $50 and he fills up your spot. So it was, I had my set list. I had from this is going to be the first song to this is going to be the 102nd song. Like I had it timed out. I had a whole set pre-prepared. I was just over-prepared. But it was so much fun. The owner booked me for every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Wow. Off gate after that.
Off gate. Like from I was the house DJ from then on. And I remember I was just doing parties and stuff. And then my man.
Hold on, bro. Before we continue.
Yeah.
At this point, you weren't DJ Bobby Drake yet.
No, I had a different name.
Talk to us.
Look, my nickname growing up was Delicious. Okay? Delicious. All right? My name is Daniel. Starts with a D. The Kings of Comedy skit with Ayo Delicious. That was about me, okay? That was my name, DJ Delicious. And I got to thank my man, B Rose, who's a legend in this area.
Sure.
He was like, yo, I can't put that on no flyer. And he had, what was it called back then? 40-30? 40-30?
Wow.
And all I want to do is DJ there. So I was like, look, if I change my name, will you book me? He's like, yeah, changed it that night.
Nice.
All right, bet. I'll figure something out. So Bobby Drake, this is a little tidbit. Bobby Drake is the, X-Men, Iceman from X-Men.
For sure.
His real name in the comic book is Bobby Drake. So the coldest DJ ever was like my thing, Bobby Drake. There's only a handful of people who know that. Now you're one of them too. But that's how I got the name Bobby Drake. I just kept pushing. I met some really good people, folks like you and my man Trey McQueen. He booked me for a lot of gigs, and then I started doing my own parties because I realized these promoters were paying me out of this stack.
Yeah.
I was like, I want that
Start
one.
learning the economics of the parties.
Started doing my own stuff. And then, years go by, and over time, I did it for 10 years. The music changes, and then the crowd, they stay in that 21, 23 years old, and I'm getting older, and they're the same age. And the music's changing. I don't really like it as much as I used to. And then I had my daughter.
Talk about it.
Who's 6 now. But when I had her, I was DJing still, and I was driving to Charlotte, leaving Charlotte at 2 a.m. to get home. I'm getting home at 4:30 in the morning. I got this little baby. So I was like, I just can't do this for much longer. It's taking a lot out of me. I also didn't want, and no disrespect to anybody that is, but I didn't want to be a 40-year-old DJ. Yeah. So I was like, I got to figure something else out that I can transition into. I had a friend, I owned a gym at the time as well, and one of the people who came, his name was Jose, and he was a real estate agent. And he just tell me stories all about like what he did every day. And, I thought in my mind, I was like, I can do this. So I took the class without anybody knowing. I didn't tell anybody. Took the class, passed it.
We're still DJing at this point.
Still DJing. Yeah. But I had a plan. And then once I was set and I had, a firm and everything like that, I retired from DJing. I made a video. It's on YouTube right now. But I wanted people to know that like I'm done. Like this is it for me. And part of the reason was I had the whole plan up like a month later or something. I announced I was a real estate agent, but I didn't want to be a part-time agent. I wanted people to know that I was fully committed to this next stage in my life. And I'm not some I do it on the side. Plus I work at whatever,
Yeah.
I just wanted to be a full-time, whatever I was doing.
But I want to talk about that for a second because that reminds me a bit of sometimes you see, and I don't want to, this could be the wrong analogy, but maybe it's the perfect one. You see some of these athletes who pour a lot of hours into the sport, become well known for that sport, and it's hard for them to leave the game. It's hard for them to let it go, right?
Sure.
So for you, a lot of time into your craft, well known DJing, all across the nation, et cetera, et cetera. So like sometimes you can feel like that's part of who you are.
I was ready.
Yeah. So
I was good. I felt. I mean, the DJing was fun, but not every party was as fun as some of the big stuff. When the crowd is just like you, it's the best. But when the crowd is a bunch of annoying, spoiled, whatever, it's just not as fun. And I always felt like I was, like I could be doing more with my life, So I thought I was kind of holding myself back for a long time, and I just wanted to do something that was going to be more impactful. Yeah. So that was one of the reasons why when I was done, I was done. Like I had no, I have memories, right? But I have no desire. I don't miss it. None of that stuff, which is probably rare. Yeah. You talk about athletes, like some of them don't know what to do with themselves.
Absolutely.
So, and I also wasn't kicked out of the game. I could come back next week if I wanted to.
For sure.
So it was kind of on my own time, and it worked out.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. And you mentioned one thing I want to talk about along that journey. You mentioned having your daughter, right? So, again, when you talk about becoming a man, things probably changed quite a bit
Yeah.
when you become a father. I don't know that story yet or haven't experienced that yet. So I want you to talk to the people.
Right? I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
I want you to give us game, man. How did you change from how you think about like yourself as a man when you had your daughter and starting that family, bro?
Yeah, so dads will know this answer. It's going to be the same for everybody, but it goes from thinking about yourself to thinking about this little person, right? It's all about you to, it don't matter about you no more. It's all about this little person. Yeah. So, you know, I just wanted to take care of her, make sure she was good and continue. That's how I am today, right? It's just, it's so much less about yourself. It's all about these other people. I have two now, you know, I have a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. So, you know, but everything revolves around them for the most part. You know, you still got to find your own happiness and do things you like to do. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's about helping them grow and have everything they need. And, you know, there's plenty of times where I don't know what the hell I'm going to eat for dinner, but I know what they're going to eat for dinner.
For sure.
You know, and that's life as a parent. You know, you figure it out and you do what's best for them and you just take care of your stuff after. And they
don't care if dad is the biggest DJ on the planet or the biggest real estate on the planet. No. You just dad, and you
I'm just dad.
Yeah, yep. That's amazing, man. That's amazing, bro. Dog. Okay, I want to transition to the back half of the interview here, man. So the back half, we call it kind of like, you know, the lightning round. I'll ask you a few questions. Give me the first answer that comes top of your head, Brody. First question here is, a lot of guys like us, bald men, we can't really switch up our hairstyle, you know what I'm saying? We don't have the opportunity to go from dreads to the cut. We can't do nothing. So a lot of men will throw on a hat to kind of switch it up a little bit. Do you have a go-to or favorite hat?
I have. It's a Nike running hat.
Okay.
I never wear hats. I can't wear a fitted hat. Dad hats look stupid. Like, there's one hat, literally one hat I can wear, and it's the Nike running. It's super tight, black. It's like a Nike AW84, something like that. Yeah. I bought like 6. Like, it's literally the same cat. I got 3 of them in my car right now. But that's my go-to hat for sure.
No doubt. And also, I gotta mention this. I think you call yourself the running agent or something like that?
The running realtor. Yeah. When I first started, that was one of my things I was just doing before like reels were popping. I was doing, I guess just video, like regular video, IGTV or whatever it was called. And I was doing tips from a running realtor. And I would run and give 3 tips or whatever. Yeah. So, and that was kind of what I was known for, which is good advice for anybody who wants to, be an entrepreneur. If you can be known for something, it's going to help you. So that was like my niche. The worst thing I ever did though was I did Running Realtor Live. I went on Instagram Live and I ran like 3 miles and answered questions during the run. It wasn't good. I was out of breath. I'm just asking me questions about credit scores and I'm in the heat running 80 degrees. It was a mistake. So I don't recommend that. But the edited videos were fun. They were definitely a lot of fun.
No doubt.
And I still run to this day. And, you know, it's nice when I ain't got to think about my hair at the same time. I just go run, come back, you know, take a shower, good to go.
One funny thing I'll mention, man, because we were talking about working out earlier, you know what I'm saying? We both like to work out. I'm not going to lie. It's always hella bald men in the gym. Bald guys got to work out. It's like a stamp. Like, you lose your hair, you got to work out.
You know. You got to do what you got to do. If you can grow a beard, you grow a beard. If you work out, you work out. And it's not, you know, we don't have to prove anything. It's just, I don't know, it's that stage in your life. You want to be healthy. I work out not as much to look good. My father wasn't in very good shape growing up. And he passed when I was 18. And we could really just play catch. Like, that was it. We just played catch, like baseball.
Yeah.
And I told myself I want to be in great shape for my kids so I can run with them, tackle them, do whatever, be their coach. You know, I want to be able to do all of that stuff. So that's my biggest motivator to working out. And honestly, if I miss 3, 4, 5 days, like my back starts to hurt. You know, I feel like, oh shit, I'm getting, you know, I'm the age that I actually am. So when I'm active, everything just flows. My mind's clear. My body doesn't hurt. So that's my main motivator. To working out. And I recommend that to everybody watching, to stay fit, to stay active. It's super important, especially for like the longevity of your mind and your body. And so that's something, you know, cut your hair and then get active. That's number 2. Man,
that answer again was dope because again, you tied it right back to your kids.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
sure.
And I just love how, like, as you become a father, what changes becomes important across every aspect of your life. And it all kind of circles back to that one thing that motivates you, your why, right?
Yeah.
So it's beautiful to see that, dog. It's beautiful to see that. Next question, man. We've mentioned a little bit about some of these iconic men. You know what I'm saying? Like, me and you were sitting here bald, killing it. But it's because some folks kind of laid the foundation for us to do this today, right? So if you had to think about, bro, the top 4 most iconic men, bald men, that you would put on the Mount Rushmore of bald men, you know what I'm saying? Get the presidents out of here. You're going to put the top 4 most iconic bald men. What 4 would you put up there?
This is hard, but I'm going to think about the people I saw. I never thought about their hair. It was just them in general. But, Kevin Garnett was my favorite basketball player.
For sure, yeah.
And he was bald head as long as I knew him.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan. And honestly, not even being silly, I'm going to throw Sean Henderson, because I'm proud of him. And my man Santo. You know For Santo. Sure.
2 Raleigh heads.
Those guys, they cut their hair, they're confident, they're doing their thing. And, I'm proud of them for taking a step just like we both did.
No doubt.
So, yeah, I'll throw all of them on there.
No doubt. And you know what I like about, especially the top of that list, you mentioned Kevin Garnett. And before that, what you said, Bobby, you was like, man, these guys was bald, but, I didn't really notice their hair, right?
Yeah, right.
So it's not like, oh, that's Kevin Garnett. He's bald. That's just Kevin Garnett.
That's just Kevin Garnett.
That's just DMX,
I think
right?
we're the only ones who think about that. When people look at you, they're literally not just looking at it. They're looking at the whole thing, right? They're looking at what's coming out of your mouth. They're listening to you. So I think that we as individuals, and everybody does this, you think about yourself a lot more than other people
Talk
do.
about
you
it.
got a little ass pimple somewhere. Ain't nobody looking at that. You got a whole face to look at, right? So don't be too particular about one little thing because it's going to be your whole package at the end of the day.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Yes, sir. Final 2 questions here, man. Final 2 questions. These get kind of deep, you know what I'm saying? So created this platform for guys who potentially are still struggling with their hair loss to hopefully kind of hear real life stories from guys who've already been there, you know what I'm saying? So if you know somebody's watching this right now, bro, still struggling with hair loss, what's the advice you would give them?
I mean, I kind of said it already. It's just the freedom that you feel when you don't have to worry about it anymore is life-changing. It's all I used to think about. I look in the mirror, I look at a picture, I was like, what does my hair look like, And now it's no longer a thought.
Yeah.
And I'm less stressed probably because of it. I have more time because of it. I feel good. So, get over that little hump of what people might think. Because honestly, it's probably worse. You trying to hide it. They see that more than they're going to notice if you got a bald head. And honestly, you're never going to remember what your hair used to look like. Just give it a couple weeks. You can be like, yo, I should have did this long time ago. So, don't worry about it. Don't do it for yourself. Don't necessarily think about other people. And, just remember putting your head out the window and just enjoying yourself like I did. So, it's freedom. Man. It was freeing for me.
No doubt. Sure. No doubt. Final question here. My favorite question on every single episode, bro.
Okay.
Again, we talk about come home in several different ways, right? Come home from the hair loss perspective, and you holding on too long, just come on home.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But also we spell it in French because again, it means like a man or as a man in French. And one big thing about the platforms, we don't like to keep it to hair loss. We also like to talk about what it means to be a man, right? And we talked about it a bit from a standpoint of being a parent, bro, but I want to hear it from a even higher level standpoint. We think about what it means to be a man. And let me dive a bit deeper too, because we kind of came up in the same era where media was feeding us to be a man, you need to have multiple women. You need to show no emotions. You need to be tough, be dominant. All those things that we grow watching movies growing up, listening to music growing up. But then over time you grow up, you kind of start to realize maybe that was wrong. Right. So talk to me about what you think it means to be a man, bro.
I think it's taking care of your family, right? When you have one. And if you don't have your own kids, there's always somebody around you who should be able to rely on you.
Yeah.
It's handling your business. It's having an idea and being able to implement that idea, I think would be my thought for someone who wants to be a man or already is. Being compassionate, being above the riffraff or the silliness or the the anger that's out there.
Yep.
I think, just becoming your own is somebody who can be understanding, and helpful and like loving and confident. And, you don't have to be macho man. You can be just a good man. Right. And I think that's the most important thing. And, just try to be happy with yourself, because then you can pass that on to other people. And I think that's important.
Wow. Yo, another episode wrap, man, dog. I appreciate you coming and listening with us today.
Good to be here.
Before we drop, one more time, though, people, if y'all like Bobby's story, again, Daniel's story, you can relate to it, you want to reach out on Instagram, where can they find you, bro?
Yeah, my Instagram is at Daniel G the Realtor. I think you can find everything else from my Instagram. My website is thegluckingroup.com. This is my team. There's 5 of us here in the Raleigh-Durham area. We kill it. We're all full-time. We're all a lot of fun. And we all take our job very seriously in the good ways.
So the Avengers of Real Estate.
The Avengers of Real Estate, sure. Yeah. That was another tagline we used to go by. So, but yeah, I love what I do, and I try to still hold it down for the area that we're from. And I love helping people. We're going to help over 200 people this year buy a house. I've helped. One of my favorite things is like I have 26-year-old single nurses. I got one she's going to close on her house. She's going to make like $175,000. And she just lived there. Like we just bought it 3 years ago. She's about to make 100. What else can you do that doesn't really take a lot of work?
Yep. And
you can just sit back and make $175,000 untaxed, and you're set, for whatever you got next. So those are my favorite stories. We're going to keep that going for sure.
My man. Y'all tap in for sure, man. Again, dog, I appreciate you 10 times for joining us today. You already know it, man. Every time. And like I said at the end of every single episode, y'all stay bald, y'all stay bold, and we'll see y'all soon. For sure. My brother, man. You already know.